Holy Atari Easter eggs, Batman! Tiki here on a whirlwind quest to watch every episode of Batman the Animated Series. But this isn't any run-through of the show, it's my first run-through of the show. That's right, as a novice, I am going through the show with an expert by my side to teach me the ways of the Bat.
Blue Dragon 5 here. See, folks, long ago, I made a vow to educate Tiki in the ways of Batman the Animated Series, serving as his spirit guide to Gotham, in a way.
And tonight, we're tackling the seminal Riddler episode of the series. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? All right, and Dragon, I did not know that that Riddler's origin story was that he was Jigsaw from the Saw movies. That's all right. In all seriousness, Dragon, I like this one a lot. I think there's some silly 90s cartoon elements to this one for sure. You know, the whole idea that like the Riddler was somehow able to convert this funhouse maze into like an exact replica of his video game map, complete with booby traps and stuff. Some silliness going on, but I was able to buy into it. Dragon. I don't think that this is like the most deep or psychologically stimulating episode of Batman that we've gone through, but it's a lot of fun. It showcases the Riddler really well. It's got a killer ending. So yeah, overall, I had a lot of fun with this one, Dragon.
All right. Let's get into a little bit of context, a little bit of background for the significance of this one. So this was directed by the great Eric Radomski, of course, the co-creator of the series, also one of the directors on Mask of the Phantasm, man responsible for the opening of Batman the Animated Series. A lot of hats, a lot of great claims to fame by the great Eric Radomski. It feels very Radomski-esque. You can always tell if it's a Radomski episode. It's the way this one looks.
Mm-hmm.
This was written by David Wise. Now, David Wise, he had written Clock King. That was his big episode. Clock King was David Wise's big splash into Batman, which is a great episode. And he did Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne, which is also a pretty good one.
Yeah, both pretty solid, yeah.
So the studio that did this one was Blue Pencil SI, I believe it is. One of the, it wasn't like a regular studio. They did like have a very, very few episodes. I forget if this was their first one or not, but I believe it's this one we're going to cover.
Definitely doesn't sound familiar.
That's the thing. So I'm pretty sure this is the first one they did, and then we're going to get to another one they did in a few episodes from now. I believe they did one of the Ninja episodes coming up.
Oh boy, ninjas. That's always fun.
Well, remember, we saw the first part of the Ninja thing, and there's a sequel to the Ninja episode, and I believe they did that one, which we'll get to.
All right.
So of course, this is the first big character for David Wise after getting Clock King. So basically, he's cutting his teeth in kind of a small-time character with Clock King. Remember, Clock King isn't even technically a Batman villain, but because he did such a good job, now when everyone thinks of Clock King, they think of him as a Batman villain. That's pretty historic.
Who is he technically a villain for?
Green Arrow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is pretty good. Pretty good achievement there.
So they gave him a big one on this one. They gave him the Riddler, of course, very historic, especially after 60s Batman with Frank Gorshin having the very historic take on that. And so, of course, the thing with the Riddler you got to remember, and the reason, like you're probably asking yourself, like, man, why haven't we gotten to the Riddler yet? We're already in kind of season 2 of Batman the Animated Series. We haven't even gotten the Riddler yet, man. Why the long wait? Well, the reason for that is Riddler is a big writing challenge. Writers are terrified of doing the Riddler because for the very simple reason that riddles are hard to write, hard to come up with. At least have them be good riddles, not just like, oh, he's always talking like basically someone like bought like a book of riddles and basically worked those into the episode to make it not come off as something like that.
Yeah,
very difficult. So, and the other thing that was kind of working kind of to the benefit and also against David Wise here is that Martin Pasco is a comics writer, also is kind of like one of the he's kind of like the guy who runs the writers' room to an extent. Alan Burnett truly runs the writers' room, but I mean one of the other head honchos, be Martin Pasco, did some stuff for Phantasm, comic writer, great guy. So he basically crafted a 120-page backstory for the Riddler, as in, okay, here's
Oh
all the stuff you
wow.
might want to do with the Riddler, and he gives it all to Dave Wise. Okay, run with this, and he would do this with a few characters, but namely a very important case like the Riddler. So it's very intimidating, as you can probably imagine. And the big thing that intimidated David Wise, the big kind of driving goal between all of this and that backstory and everything, is that we don't want Riddle Me This Batman. We do not want him to be like that. Gorshin did that. We're not going to do that. We're going to try to get away from Riddle Me This Batman.
Really smart call on their part, yeah.
So, of course, Riddle of the Minotaur is a huge fixture of this episode, and actually, I think you're going to love this. So, very famously, there is a Batman Robin Super Nintendo game that is based off the animated series, and that game is very much tied into Riddle of the Minotaur, and basically the Riddler episodes of Batman the animated series all kind of stems from.
It's funny, I definitely remember, I didn't play that game on Super Nintendo, but I definitely remember back during my, emulator days, trying that game out, and one thing I can say for that game is it had really good animation. Like, the graphics looked very good, and the animation on the character models looked really fluid and accurate to the show.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember the gameplay being all that great, but look-wise it was very solid.
All right. So all that said, let's dive right into it.
Da 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 da. Right.
So we start with Competitron. As you can tell, the name is very, very
So,
unsubtle.
Dragon, we start with the first act of Tron. I mean, really, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I love Tron. It's like Tron, but what if Kevin Flynn went evil in the first one instead of the second one? All right. But,
seriously, we start with this opening shot that I was really blown away by this one on the rewatch, because here's the thing. There are three true blue Riddler episodes of Batman the Animated Series, Tiki, and that's the thing. This is episodes there's an arc. They all connect to each other, which is really interesting.
nice.
And I don't know how intentional it was. I want to say it was basically the success they had with this first one. They kind of decided they want to do other ones. And I think the second one, it's kind of the weak sauce one, but we'll get to that when we get to it. You'll see what your thoughts on it are. But for me, my favorite Riddler episode is the third one. That's my favorite of all three of them. Anyway, but rewatching this one, man, it holds up tremendously well for me. And when I look back on the opening shot, kind of blew me away. It's the opening kind of sequence here. It really has a lot of great subtle foreshadows and all sorts of stuff here. We have Competitron, maker of little signs says Competitron, maker of Riddle of the Minotaur. It's like the sign that tells you everything you need to know about the Riddler's motivation, what's about to unfold beneath us there. That sign tells you everything.
Totally. And I really like this whole idea of the Riddler being a video game designer, Dragon. Honestly, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. That's really ahead of its curve when it comes to game design. Because I feel like nowadays, more than ever, game design is, very much predicted on puzzles and mental logic and stuff like that. And honestly, Dragon, I gotta be, as just a core gamer who likes stuff like platformers and puzzle games and stuff like that, I don't like these logic-based gameplay elements that they're adding into games. It kind of slows the gameplay down for me personally. But regardless, I do think that it's kind of interesting that I feel like Nigma as a game designer almost works better in today's gaming landscape than it does in the 90s gaming landscape. So, yeah, this was ahead of its curve in that way.
Yeah. So we hear a voiceover of Mockridge. I love that we build up Mockridge too. Given Mockridge is a one-off character, but we have of course Mockridge plays a pivotal role in the episode. So I love that this one-off character gets kind of that's what I'm talking about. On the rewatch of this grand build-up and this really great kind of this really great ego-driven story between two men. Of course, ego is a huge thing with the Riddler. So I love all of this is kind of put into play here. We have the voiceover of Mockridge asking his assistant, has Edward Nigma shown up yet? No, he's coming in right now, sir. Good. For what's about to unfold here, and it's the cutthroat nature of business that he wants to see what's about to unfold, and as we see in the sequence here, so we have the introduction of Edward Nigma.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, and again, everything you need to know about the guy, but of course, the origin of Edward Nigma before he becomes the Riddler is that he's a cocky man with a crossword puzzle. Walking, and this is the
He's
shot
like
that really...
Paul Giamatti in Sideways, Dragon. He does the crossword puzzle with a pen. with a pen.
God,
That's
yes.
that's like the second most epic thing to happen in the movie Sideways. All right.
And here's the thing. Here's the shot that blew me away on the rewatch. I never noticed.
The maze cubicles.
Yeah, I love the
Yeah,
maze
that was
cubicles.
really
Like the man,
cool. That was really
seriously,
cool.
everything you need to know about Enigma here is man with a cocky man with a crossword puzzle walking next to like cubicles in the form of a maze. Perfect foreshadowing for what's going to happen in this episode. Great.
Mhm.
So he taught, and he literally just, I love the fluidity in the animation. He tosses it, he tosses the cross, after he finishes the crossword puzzle, he tosses it in the garbage, like no reverence. And we build up Mockridge because we see him like, from the torso down, because we don't see him yet. We see there's a man watching him, presumably Mockridge, as Enigma, basically watching Enigma be put in his place. As Enigma discovers his office is locked and his name is literally trashed. So symbolic. The creation of the
God. Yeah,
his name,
yeah.
the name tag from the office door, thrown in the trash, and then we have like a very, he's questioning the cocky Mockridge.
What's going on here? This was my office. Yeah, Keywood was your office.
He's relishing in firing a man who sued him for royalties, and we reveal that the company made millions. And again, as we saw, the outside of the place says, the company that made Riddle of the Minotaur. So Riddle of the Minotaur is a big deal. And again, Edward Nygma had a huge hand in that. So it's like, the company made millions from Nygma's.
It'd be like, in the modern day context of video games, it'd be like, let's say, the guy who developed Grand Theft Auto being fired from Rockstar Studios.
Yeah.
It's like Grand Theft Auto is like the bread and butter of that company.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought that, because this brings up the thing that kind of really blew me away on a story level with this. Now, basically, Mockridge's retort, Mockridge's kind of response, like, you tried to sue us, but he says, like, you promised not to sue us in the contract, and he makes the point of, it's not the product. Basically, how dare you fire me? You made all this off of my genius. No, it's not the product. It's the company attitude. It's the deal. It's your work for hire contract that says you can't sue us. Now, this work for hire contract, it's kind of a twofold reference. The inspiration for this was David Wise. He worked on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and he had like a higher thing. He probably created some characters, and obviously did not get royalties for these characters, or the episodes, or some such. And for me, the parallel I see these days, a lot of Bill Finger in there.
Oh yeah, totally.
Work for hire, again, that's what I'm saying. Something very interesting, very fascinating, recontextualizing in a very fascinating way. I mean, they have like the video game component, which of course Batman's huge in video games these days.
Yes. It took Batman a while to get his footing in video games, but he certainly has it there now.
Assuredly.
Dragon, did you ever play any of the bad Batman video games?
I didn't personally feel it was bad, but I played Batman Begins. I played the movie version of Batman Begins, which I think is basically, it's imagine like the very beta phase of the Arkham game. It's like the most beta phase you're ever going to get in something. That would be Batman Begins, where they tried out some stuff that would be refurbished and way better in the Arkham games. At least they tried it, though, so I have to give Batman Begins credit there.
All right, Dragon, I'm going to throw out really quick, because we're on the subject of Batman games.
I saw some of the other bad games, though. I saw them.
I'm going to throw out a title of one, and I want you to know if you've ever heard of it or come across it at all. Batman Rise of the Sin 2.
Okay, now, it's so funny you bring it up. So I know about this because this is a spin-off of the animated series.
Okay, Dragon, this to me is like, for all my accounts, it sounds like the worst Batman game from all my research.
Yeah, basically I want to say there were a few animated tie-in games. You had that. You had I played Batman Vengeance. That was the closest thing you had to a PlayStation version of a Batman game, not kind of the whole Super Nintendo thing we were kind of talking about earlier.
You definitely had games based on Batman '89 on the NES and the Game Boy.
Yes.
What else was there? What else?
Well, man, there was. I know it was the really crappy one. I'm just trying to remember if it was. I don't know if it was called Dark Tomorrow or what. There was that.
Dark Tomorrow. Yeah,
I think it's called Dark Tomorrow.
Yeah, that's another one that's like a contender for like the worst one.
Like Joker's just sounds terrible.
All right, but anyways, the Arkham series came along, and the rest is history.
It is, and again, Telltale, which was revived, by the way, so we're going to get more Telltale games.
Yes, so I heard.
All good news. Anyway,
I hope that they they're smart and they change up their formula, but that's another conversation. Right. Tell me something, Eddie. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? By the way, can we just talk about how smarmy this guy is?
Yeah, Mockridge is, again, it's the battle of the egos here. The corporate shark in every sense of the word here. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich?
Also, can we just take a moment to acknowledge how good of a name Mockridge is? Seriously.
Okay, now before we go any further, while we can sidetrack the names, one we should absolutely we absolutely have to shout out here. The one of my probably my favorite Riddler, John Glover. John Glover he's again, because you only hear him really 3 to 4 times in the animated series period. It's just that's why I have to talk about John Glover, because he's unfortunately the forgotten Riddler these days. Because again, when people think Riddler, they're either thinking Gorshin, Jim Carrey, or these days. Probably Corey Michael Smith, who was a fantastic Riddler also, but I'm just saying, it's...
And of course, we're going to have Paul Dano on the horizon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The point being, John Glover...
My dream Riddler is Michael Emerson, but that'll probably never happen.
Well, so is everyone's. I mean, that'd be an excellent... Anyway.
I know, but I'm saying I've been pitching him for like 10 years, ever since Lost.
I've had Emerson as the Joker, so I don't need any more from Emerson, because Emerson blew me away already. It's like, okay, I'm satisfied. He dropped the mic. I'm good.
Dragon, if there's one reason to watch Lost, it's Emerson, my friend.
I'm watching Emerson right now on his new show. Anyway.
All right.
Regardless, my point is, serious. John Glover, of course, you know him from a lot of, he's in Gremlins 2 in a really fun role. He's in Scrooged. I mean, you've seen, of course,
kind of one of those character actors that just sort of pops up all over the place, like, oh yeah, that guy.
Now, the most memorable role that ties in the comics that he's had, the one people really know him for, again, he's forgotten for the Riddler, but he's known for Smallville. He's Lionel Luthor. He's Lex Luthor's father.
Oh, okay.
Which is pretty big, and of course he's in Batman and Robin. He's Dr. Jason Woodrow, who I'm afraid you're gonna have to die. That guy.
Oh God.
So,
oh my God. Yes, you should have just said that guy, Dragon. You know that I would have just like, oh yeah, the I'm afraid you'll have to die guy.
Yes, thanks. So Dr. Jason Woodrow.
I'm afraid you'll have to die. Ah!
So yes, so point being, like, again, the reason he got that gig was Batman the Animated Series, possibly. I'm a betting man, because he's got Batman, credentials. Let's get him in this movie.
That's cool.
Point being, John Glover, wonderful actor, doesn't get talked about near enough. All right.
But just back to Mockridge, the name, for 1 second, I just want to make the point that Mockridge sounds like a name that's like so evil that it's almost like Ratcliffe. You know what I mean? And of course, one of my favorite pieces of Disney trivia, just to reiterate, Ratcliffe, real guy, not so much a villain, but they named the villain Ratcliffe just because he had the name Ratcliffe. I love that. Anyways.
So basically we set up, again, what gives us the line, if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? It's the whole, it's the greed versus intellect. It's greed versus ego. That's kind of what the battle between these two men is. It's, again, like, and this is where we unleash the Riddler. Again, that line, I love that line, burps the Riddler right there. The whole, if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? It's the question that echoes in his mind that basically drove him to become the Riddler. I love that idea. Like, that's the last interaction they had, and that formed the Riddler. So Mockridge led to his own undoing with that line, I think. And that's, of course, that's the line of the episode. It's a perfect moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So 2 years later, Mockridge, he's pitching Riddle of the... Tiki, you had a little thing earlier on where you mentioned the... you kind of had a little bit of a hard sell that Enigma would be able to retrofit the whole Riddle of the Minotaur thing. We got to remember, though, Mockridge, in 2 years, he built the theme parks. The theme park was already built, and the Riddler just kind of made it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I wasn't... That's the thing. There are some moving parts to this episode with, like, the realty element of it and stuff, so... Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I mean, he did make him dead.
The thing is... Okay, my question, though, is, like, would Mockridge really have a good sense to, like, literally make, like, a beat-by-beat replica of the maze of the game?
Well, that's the thing. Again, he's had 2 years to make it. Again, he's going to go in the Imagineering route with it. He's trying to make it
That's what I'm saying, Dragon. I don't trust that. This guy does not strike me. But then again, Bob
Well, no, we
Iger,
said
not
it's the
necessarily the
creatives. The
most creative
creatives,
guy, but
yeah, the creatives did all the work. I'm saying he did the finances of it all.
okay, so this guy is basically Iger.
That's well, don't make it sinister like that. But yes,
Don't make it sinister for Iger or for this guy.
for Sinister Iger. Don't make them.
All right, Iger. I'm trying to give you a break.
No, okay, but yes, your point
I'm
is.
just saying, one day Disney didn't do Iger a lot of favors in that regard.
You're right. It did. It did him some favors, though. That was
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll
okay,
give you
get back.
that.
The point is, so 2 years later, Mockridge is essentially he's pitching to Wayne Enterprises the Riddle of the Minotaur theme park to Bruce Wayne, Lucius Fox. Now, Bruce, he was already sold basically for the job opportunities of this theme park, and also he's going to buy Competitron as well. That's the idea. He's going to buy the company and the theme park, which could give people jobs. Which again is like Batman helping the city via Bruce Wayne, which is always a-okay in my book. It's like, yeah, Bruce Wayne being a good guy, awesome. So we have that going. It's the point is he just wants the deal, and he doesn't. I don't know that Batman doesn't even care about the theme park. It's like, okay, well, we need the jobs. That's what we're gonna do here. We're gonna help.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Mockridge, he gets distracted because he's terrified by a riddle on kind of the stock ticker outside the building, and he kind of abruptly ends the meeting, which kind of throws on because and I love Kevin Conroy's delivery here too. Kevin Conroy has two really funny deliveries in this.
This is a great classic clueless Bruce Wayne here.
Mockridge. Yeah, Mockridge, and there's one later on that cracks me up. We'll get there later, but it's like this. This is the one is Bruce Wayne, one is Batman later, and the one is Batman, one is kind of priceless anyway. So
okay.
Mockridge, and there was. I'm sorry, Joe. I'm gonna have to handle this some other time. So then, he leaves in a rush because they're baffled by okay, we're hook, line, and sinker. He doesn't even have to sell us. So we just want to close the deal. So they read the tickers. Says, why do multi-million-dollar deals? And of course, we transition to the Batcave where Batman's now kind of as he's walking in the cave, he's kind of echoing the riddle: breakdown in the wasteland.
Also, we should point out that Lucius Fox was in that scene.
He was. Yes, he was.
Or Dragon, as the teenage girl in the audience of my Dark Knight Rising screening would say, Lucius!
God. I just hope Chris Chalk is watching this somewhere and it's like,
oh God,
man, I don't know why they're so stuck on that.
Lucius! I tell you, Dragon, she seemed heartbroken over Morgan Freeman, man. That poor girl, she was going through something there. Anyways.
Here, I gotta admit, okay, so Blue Pencil, I think they did great work. I gotta be honest, I think I love the episode's writing a little bit more than the animation. The animation, it's fine, but it definitely feels a little bit like the Super Nintendo footage at times. A little bit. I say a little bit with the facial reactions and some shots. I think the shot composition is beautiful in this episode. We have great, wonderfully composed shots. We do. However, some of the facial animation's a little off. Like when Bruce and Lucius are looking to each other, and like Bruce's eyes look really off.
I can see that. Yeah.
And there are a few little kind of odds. It's not a deal breaker by any means. I've seen worse in some other episodes. Believe me. So that's what I'm saying. So it doesn't really matter. And again, on the whole, again, as I said, this could stand up to some of the other stuff that we've seen in the interim before we get stuff down the line in terms of animation. Now we get to like Infinity Train, things look fantastic. Before that point, it's like it's a little dodgy here and there. Anyway, my point is there are some weird. There's a little bit of weird. There's a weird image in this episode to me. Bruce Wayne walking around in the Batcave in his full Bruce Wayne garb just looks a little off.
that is always weird.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's not. As I told you before, I love when he's in the costume. He's like putting on the voice when he's like on the phone with Lucius Fox or somebody. Like, hey, Lucius, what's up? That whole thing.
Yeah.
Walking around pacing as Batman would, but it's just like Bruce Wayne in the three-piece brown suit. Anyway, so as he's going back and forth, kind of pondering the riddle from earlier, Dick Grayson, he's on the back computer and he's playing Riddle of the Minotaur.
I hope this game is worth tying up a $500 million computer, sir. All right, so I love that Riddle of the Minotaur is essentially Atari Adventure Dragon.
It's kind of Atari Adventure meets the game from Big. It's a little bit of that.
Meets the game from what?
Remember Big at the start of Big? It's like the whole how do you take out the
wizard?
Oh,
yeah. It's got a little bit of that with the riddles and everything. Sure.
The riddles and the text on the screen reminds me a little bit of that. But you're right. I mean, the end of it very much looks like adventure for sure.
But what I like about this is that it kind of is a way to make video games timeless in this universe because, by this point, even in the 90s, obviously video games had advanced like way beyond this. Like this stuff was, primitive even for 90s standards, because 90s we had like, 16-bit. What was this, Dragon? Like 97?
No. This is way earlier than that. Tiki. This is
Okay.
90. This is probably 93.
Okay. So we didn't have stuff like the PlayStation and N64 yet, but still we had, we solidly had 16-bit gaming. So this was this is a far cry from 16-bit gaming.
But again,
I apologize if I'm going to get nerdy with the gaming here, Dragon.
Well, the bigger takeaway to you with to make it more of that a little bit relevant here is that so we had a Hardak. We had the Hardak episode earlier, which again is them dabbling with kind of some futuristic sci-fi stuff. But again, we're trying to make it timeless. They have like wetware chips. So it was kind of cutting edge 90s, but it was still kind of in kind of a more kind of like almost 50s sci-fi angle.
Right.
Yeah, with the whole Flesher style on that one. We're kind of doing that here. We're kind of bouncing 90s meets kind of the timeless world, 1930s World's Fair angle. The whole series is going off of.
So to me, it's interesting because it's essentially like, I mean, let's face it, it basically is like a Mac point and click computer game.
Yeah.
But it's kind of got a rough style of like what if video games were around during the World's Fair. It might look like kind of like this.
Yeah, exactly. That's what their version of the future would be. It would be kind of the 90s. It would be kind of like, again, what we now see is a little bit passé, but again, charmingly nostalgic.
The dream of the 90s is alive in Portland, Dragon. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was a really random pull. Go ahead.
Anywho, so again, Alfred points out he's playing on the $50 million computer. He explains that it's Riddle of... Oh, Alfred, this is Riddle of the Minotaur. So, let's see. So, of course, we have the distance riddle. So the distance riddle is going to pay off later on here, where he points out, okay, it's not a straight. Basically, we learn it's not a straight line, but it's a curved line. Where again, Alfred calls Dick out here on like, hey, it's wouldn't the best answer be not be a straight line, but a curved line as the fastest point around a globe.
Uh-huh.
And of course, Alfred's right because Alfred's always right, man. He's freaking Alfred. So, Hand of Fate intervenes, and he's taken to the wasteland. All of this very solid foreshadow for Act 3 of the episode. I don't know, plotting wise, this episode's great. Batman's asking, the Wasteland, doesn't Mockridge own a club called the Wasteland? As this happens, Dick points out, like, oh, the Wasteland, you know of it? No, in the game, when you get the wrong answer, you're taken to the Wasteland.
Uh-huh.
So, I love the foreshadows right under the nose right now. It's like right under his nose, the connection here. I like to think that, again, it's a little programmer nod, very much like the Easter eggs in Atari's. A programmer knew, hey, Mockridge owns that club in the Wasteland. Let's put that in there.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. That's kind of what I read it as too.
Or in this case, probably Nigma in the grand scheme of things. Therefore, Nigma knows about the Wasteland, which is why he goes
just there. Don't name your nightclub the Wasteland. That's not an appealing name for a nightclub.
But again, I don't think this is happening here. But again, if Mockridge were running some some illicit stuff going on there, again, if you did want people to go, you would call it the Wasteland.
I'm just saying, even if you don't want people to go, calling it the Wasteland is going to draw attention to it.
Yeah. Anyway.
Right.
Okay, so Mockridge. So again, Mockridge. Okay, here's a wonderful sequence right here.
Okay.
So Mockridge enters his dark office. And we have Nigma waiting because basically Mockridge has deciphered the riddle from earlier, and then basically he learned that you go to the Wasteland, go to the club. So Nigma's there waiting at his desk. It's silhouetted so perfectly. It's a beautiful image. It really is. He says, "Oh, did you decode the message yourself, or did you have help?" Again, just like insulting him right there. You can't kill this deal, Nigma. We have this great lighting and build-up. Says, "Oh, I'm not here to kill the deal. I have a proposition." And I love this. And again, this is the dynamic so perfectly. You have the ego, the guy who's in control right now of the Riddler. And we haven't revealed him as the Riddler. He's in shadow. He's wearing the green gun. Glimpse it a little bit. It's awesome. And you have Mockridge here, and his eyes light up. You see the greed and the corporate thinking here. Like, what is it? Is it an idea for a new game? I'm going to rip him off for a new game. You can see you can see the dollar signs in his eyes practically.
Yeah.
No. Basically, the thing he's holding in his hands right now is that the new game? Says, no, this is a puzzle. It's far more than a mere game. Solve it, and then we'll talk. So then this is really clever. Basically, the ring trick. It's the old ring trick in a magic act, where essentially, as he's trying to separate the rings, it ends up kind of bind. It's clever little animation beat too. He basically gets, as he's trying to like separate the rings, it becomes like handcuffs, becomes manacled, and this is a really clever nod to the famous first appearance of the Riddler. The Riddler's first appearance has this awesome cover of Batman and Robin are trapped in like this question mark cage. So it's kind of like basically all these things interlock to each other. Basically, you go into you try to solve a puzzle and you end up getting in kind of this trap where the Riddler's just standing there laughing all Gorshin on the outside. It looks really cool. Little nod to yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Like a little nod to the first appearance of the Riddler. Basically, Riddler and Robin were introduced in the same year, so it's kind of a big deal. Like basically, Batman, Robin, and the Riddler. That's kind of why Robin's especially in this episode as well. I should mention that. All right.
So he's saying, what is this, an extortion scheme? And the Riddler has a great line, and I love the animation on this. It's like the classic kind of like hyper detail close up on a character. No, I don't want money. What I want is you.
I love this line too. He says, "Money? Not anymore. What I want is you." I love that. Not anymore. That's because at one time money could have solved this, but not anymore.
Sure.
That's the whole. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? Again, the money of it all, the greed versus the ego. Yes.
Totally.
So then Riddler's men grab. Which, by the way, there's also he uses these same henchmen in all 3 episodes, which is awesome.
That's nice consistency. Yeah.
So let's see. So I love that. In a sense, Riddler is, and again, you kind of see David Wise's writing here, where Riddler is not sympathetic like Clock King. And that Clock King, he is getting revenge, but you understand, you felt bad for the man whose life got ruined because he was late. Or imagine you had a really unsympathetic Mr. Freeze. That's kind of what you have with the Riddler here, where again, you have the same starting place. He could have gone that route, where again, you have a corporate guy screws over the employee, which is Mr. Freeze's story. Only we take all the heart out of that. We make it pure like a money, dollars and cents, ego versus intellect. It's our ego versus greed, and again, kind of the whole power and crime of those things.
I mean, even from the Riddler's first lines of like, "Oh, you can run this company without me, you fool of fools."
Exactly. Again,
it's like you can see that ego just runs this guy.
Because legally, Mockridge is in the right, but still, it's like these 2 guys who treat each other so poorly.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's wonderful. I just love that's the building blocks of the Riddler. Again, it's like he's kind of it's in the mold of Batman the Animated Series when you're looking on it with a fine tooth comb, like, oh god, it is like literally kind of what our mold is for like some of those complex, interesting characters. But again, what if you had the Riddler's ego factored into that? Which again, like what if you corrupted a Mr. Freeze story with like a guy who just couldn't see past his own nose, so to speak. All right. So Batman and Robin, they crash through the stained glass. Cool looking shot.
Awesome transition.
Yeah.
I love how they crash into the stained glass, but it's not the location we were just at. It's like a hard cut.
Yeah.
All right.
So we build up the Riddler. Yes, bat something or other.
That's great. They definitely do a good job of establishing that this is the first time that Batman and the Riddler are meeting.
And you know what happens to gatecrashers? They have to match wits with the Riddler. And then we have the painting shot. We have like the painting of the Riddler, but again, we make it's a little off of that smile. I don't know. It's a great moment. I'm just saying that's when the animation sticks out where we're animating on top. It doesn't look as good as that Two-Face shot where Two-Face is reading. He's a painter.
It also doesn't look as good as like the close up of like what I want is you.
That's what I'm saying. Like those shots are. I think some shots came out a little better, but I respect what they were going for all the same. It's like that's still a cool shot. Just they only could maybe limit it around the mouth or kept them obscure. I don't know. The point is it was neat. Regardless, so then Batman calls out Nigma, and I love it right off the bat. Batman is calling Nigma out on his name and basically saying, "I know who you are." And again, it's like the battle has kind of already begun. The Riddler, in a sense, he sees a potential opponent in Batman. Could it be we have a brain under that cowl? And the question is, do you have the brawn to match? So like right now, he's kind of entertaining the notion. Oh god, this guy's he's kind of smart, and maybe he can match wits with me. And again, this is kind of builds into the arc of like I want to outsmart.
This could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
In essence, yes. But seriously, that's kind of the great thing. It's Riddler seeking his intellectual equal, and again, kind of his opponent that will build into kind of what he's going to be doing in the next 2 episodes as well. So, anyway, sorry folks. First encounters. It's kind of exciting. Anyway, so let's see. So then we have like some fun action beats here. Basically, Six is two giant henchmen on Batman and Robin here. Like, Batman tosses one of the thugs, and then Robin he pushes the guy's hat down, kicks him, and slides under and kicks him. Some nice bits there. We have the old we have Riddler's trick cane, where basically he causes like a little light show that's going to basically cause a little diversion so he can escape later. Robin does the old tablecloth trick. I love that trick, but I can never get it to work. I love that gag.
Yeah.
So lights are spinning, they're spinning, and they say to a point where they drop, and they lead to a fire, which kind of causes a distraction, while Riddler is cuffing Mockridge to a handle. So something along the lines, yeah.
No, I'm sorry. I like how the rings kind of like represent different, how helpless Mockridge is in this whole situation.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So something along the lines of, I think you can handle it from here. So let's see. So Riddler. So I'm sorry. So Robin assists Batman with like the old with kind of this kind of rolling cart thing. Batman's about to be clubbed by one of the guys like a club that's kind of on fire. He's about to be beaten, but Robin just kind of pushes in this cart, just knocks the guy over. So let's see. So then the Riddler kind of poses a riddle to Batman here, because it seems like, okay, well, they're about to kind of mop the floor with the Riddler, and it's going to be the end of the game, right? But no, Riddler has a fail-safe here. So he asks Batman, can you match wits? He sees that Batman has wits, but do you have the wits enough to save two people at the same time? So then... Oh,
I'm sorry, really quick, I love the detail of Mockridge, like, trying to stomp out the fire as all this is going on.
I love it. If you notice, when he's dragged out of there, his foot is smoking, as in he's a little on fire when he's being pulled out of there.
That's what I'm saying. Like the character models on this might not be the best, but still, like the actual like animation cycles are, pretty detailed.
Absolutely. And again, we're avoiding riddle me this, because that was like the prime riddle me this part of it too. Like, you could have said, like, riddle me this, Batman. Do you? Because they didn't do that though. So anyway, so point being, he poses like, can you save two people at the same time? He uses his trick cane to shoot Robin with a kind of a variation on the old Chinese finger puzzle trap.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, this giant finger puzzle basically wraps Robin so he could suffocate or he's going to be trapped in there. As Mockridge is carted off, and of course Mockridge is like offering Batman money, think, please, Batman, help me.
I'll give you anything. I'll give you money, Batman. That's what you want, right?
So I love it. Would have looked really. I was wondering on the rewatch, like, did he go after him? Because no, thankfully Batman grabs Robin, because it would have looked really bad if Batman just came out of there before Robin.
Batman's just like, did somebody say money?
Obviously, given his alter ego, would have looked really bad. So thankfully that didn't happen. Regardless of Batman.
Robin, we've got to have money.
In all seriousness, so Batman grabs Robin, he runs out of there, he gives chase. Unfortunately, it's too late. Again, Batman doing the best he could have done in the situation, basically trying to save two people at the same time. Grabs the one who's more helpless, then chases the other guy, who he has a good shot like finding later on. I love that little detail. Robin's on fire, by the way. I love that. Put out Robin. Like, hey, get me out of here. So in the Batmobile, Batman's expositing. Enigma he figures that he's the creator of the game. Basically, the creator of the game is behind the stock ticker from earlier on. Therefore, be Edward Enigma, and this guy definitely is Edward Enigma. He did some digging, which kind of proved that was who he was. Outside, the city lights are flickering on and off.
This is a really cool shot right here, or series of shots, I should say.
Batman figures out it's Morse code. And now this is specifically for this episode because he's going to have his belt taken away from him later on. So what we did here is we gave Batman the palm top computer. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we've ever seen it.
Nice.
Basically, Batman gets out of there. He kind of basically this is like nowadays in the Arkham games, it's all in the gauntlet and stuff. It was like then where he had it built into like the fabric of the glove, so he flips up like the palm of it. And it's like a little mini computer, little mini laptop in his, Anyway, so basically,
I just say I love the atmosphere of this scene where we see the lights flashing on and off in the background. We hear the effects, the horns honking. We really get a sense of the chaos that all this is causing.
Yeah. So we're at the Department of Power. As Batman's kind of deciphering the Morse code, we're at the Department of Power. We're seeing what's causing all this. And Riddler's men, this is a beautiful moment on the rewatch. It's so good. So these men are questioning like, why you got what you wanted, why leave a clue? Which of course is the eternal question of the Riddler. Why leave Batman a clue? You can get away with the perfect crimes. Why leave him clues? Why do this? And again, it's a twofold thing. So the direct reason, which is a good reason, is Batman and Robin know who he is. And again, this is something that's going to bleed through into the second episode. So again, a lot of it does track in this arc. So you don't need it, but again, if you wanted to look back on it, which I kind of am, and it's, there are some really great threads here. Batman and Robin know who he is. Again, they call him out being Edward Nygma. So he has to get him out of the way first in order to commit the perfect crime, which is kind of what this Riddler is all about, committing the perfect crime. And as you see in this episode, he gets quite close. He actually kind of does it. So deeper. However, I think the deeper reason for this is the classic thing with the Riddler, where there's the deeper competition with with Batman, that he wants to see if this guy's smart enough to find him.
Right.
So again, it's a rational question, but also it's like a little bit of the competition of the man's egos coming out. That guy could be the guy who could actually match wits with me. I'm very fascinated by this man. All right. So back with Batman and Robin, they're in the car here, and he's asking. And basically, the riddle is, when is the Riddle Minotaur creator? When is the Minotaur creator high as an elephant's eye? So the answer is corn. This is a little Oklahoma reference.
Oh, God. Yeah, so I didn't know that corn translated into maize.
Yes, I did. I learned that in this episode way back when. I didn't know
right,
because of
right.
This. So yes,
I mean, is that the reason why we have corn mazes on Halloween?
I honestly,
or at least part of the reason.
I think it's part of the reason. I can't say authoritatively. It makes sense to me, but I think looking back on it once, I think that's the reason. Pretty sure, because again, Maze being another name, I don't know if like the Maze thing was the reason for the other name or what, but it's
right.
Because it's spelled differently. It's M-A-I-Z. That's how it's spelled. It's not Maze and the others. The point being, it sounds alike, regardless. Okay, so Maze, which is clever, which of course connects to the greater maze of it all here. So this leads to the amusement park payoff that we're having here. They built Mockridge has built the amusement park, which kind of leads to the next trap here. Basically, Mockridge is being used as bait, it's kind of for Batman and Robin. So, by the way, the maze. So this is the line I was talking about earlier on, where Batman has a really sarcastic. I read it as sarcastic, and it cracks me up. It's sarcastic here, where Robin's trying to guess all the different words for corn. Like, what does it mean? Like corn? Does it mean kernel? Like, what was it getting at here? And this classic. This is an episode that's really smartly, tongue-in-cheekly saying, we're kind of doing an update on the 60s Batman show, especially when we have like Robin in the episode here. We're kind of doing the classic, like Burt Ward names off a few, like, it could be this, or this, or this. This is all good guesses, chum, but the answer is actually this.
Yeah.
Like we do. And this is kind of our version of that here, but we have a little bit more sarcastic edge here with Batman, where it says, the maze. Mockridge is the maze. So I love it when he's just spelling it out. I always read as he's kind of spelling out the Robin here. On the rewatch, it's like he's spelling out the Robin. It's like, the maze. Mockridge is in the maze. Like, don't you get it? He's in the maze.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's the maze. Anyway. All right. So let's see. So then we have this great. So we're at the Riddle of the Minotaur Park. And we have this great timeless projection tech for the Riddler. I love it. We're projecting. It's like almost like very it's old school projector tech where it has like all these lines. Not like a perfect.
It's old school projector tech, and yet we've got like a '90s static TV effect going on.
That's what I'm saying. I love the fact that it has like all like little divided lines. Like it's almost like a blind were pulled down in terms of the projection. That's like the old timey touch that I love about the building here, where it's just as it's projected, it looks really cool. So Riddler, he's basically projecting on a screen here, basically giving the setup of what the death trap is here. Where he says he sets up the Minotaur, sets that Mockridge is in the center of the maze, and he will be impaled by the Minotaur, of course, based on the old Greek myth of the Minotaur. That's where all this is going to come from, by the way. That he's going to be impaled by the big old kind of maze, the Minotaur at the maze in the center at 4:30 a.m., which gives him 10 minutes. And also, by the way, roughly the episode's runtime, which is kind of cool, too. Like, they roughly have 10 minutes in the episode when all this happens, actually in real time.
Like, if we're being semantical, Dragon, they have about 8 minutes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear
Okay, and
you.
also again he says no belts. Yeah, no utility belts here. And this is where we get kind of Riddler as the lethal game show host meets Willy Wonka. That's kind of what this is.
Sure.
Which is great. And again, it's kind of what do you think of the design of this Riddler too? By the way, I forgot to ask.
I mean, I like it. I don't necessarily think it's. I mean, it's. I don't think it's the most iconic Riddler design ever, but I think it works. I'm not. I guess maybe the only thing I'm not a fan of is the purple domino mask.
Really?
I don't know why that doesn't work for me, but it just kind of maybe is a little bit too over the top.
I've always liked this over the bodysuit. Even with I was loving the Riddlers in the suit versus like the skin tight outfit personally.
No, I like that too. I like the suit for sure. I like the
I
purple
like the color
gloves.
choices on the suit specifically. I think it's always been the thing. I've always loved the color. This versus a lot of the other versions of the Riddler. So I love how it kind of mixes up. He has like a black shirt, white tie with the purple on it. I don't know. I thought it was kind of a good kind of combination of colors that supported the Riddler because his color scheme is green and purple. And anyway,
Uh-huh.
point is, I thought it was kind of a classy little like take on the Riddler that sometimes gets lost in the shuffle a lot of the time. Anyway, so okay, moving on. So. And again, with the whole can and everything, kind of fits into the Willy Wonka thing a little bit too, which is kind of neat. I don't know.
All right, so the doors open up. They're in the maze.
Points out you'll have to solve the riddle too to save Mockridge. And Batman's again the Batman Robin dynamic is quite precious here again. This is like Batman saying, "Oh, I can't wait." Where Batman's just like, "Oh god," I love Batman's kind of very mentally aware, like, "Yeah, we're doing riddles this time." Yeah.
Now, I love the animation of Batman and Robin like scurrying through the maze, and then the camera zooms out, and we see the kind of the overhead shot of the maze, and we see them, kind of like the capes like making the progress. That's all very cool.
In the center of the maze is a question mark, by the way.
Hmm.
So let's see. So Robin says, "How far did you get in this game anyway?" Halfway through. I'm already. I love this. It's just like not liking any of this. So again, this is how they're combating the whole like the Frank Gorshin of all over again. They're trying to, at this time, this is before we have all the reverence for the '60s Batman that we have now. This is where they're trying to combat a lot of that, where they're trying to like, okay, we gotta cool this up a little bit. So we gotta address the fact that yeah, we're doing riddles, but we're trying to make them as cool as we can. So it's a theme park, it's an amusement park, which you've done really well in the animated series. So we're trying to add the budget that the Riddler in the '60s should have never quite got.
Uh-huh.
So we're doing that, but we're also making sure we call ourselves on. All right. So let's see. So they're very bantery and very fun, I guess is what I'm getting at here. So the Griffin enters, and Ron says, "Oh yeah, it's like a little harmless thing of the game. A little Griffin pops up until it shoots fire blast.
Not good.
Not good. Quote the cowardly SWAT man from the Dark Knight. Okay, so that's not good.
Oh God.
Anyway, so
I
now
love how this kind of adds just like this chase element to the whole thing. Like the Griffin is just on their tail the entire rest of the time.
kind of minimizing the cheating risk and everything. You
Uh,
can't turn back. You can't. So you're stuck going the way you're going. So there's also a ticking clock factor with all that added too, and death to worry about. So ticking clock and death you got to worry about.
so they pass a sign that says "losers ahead," and what happens, Dragon?
So they duck because these giant spinning blades of death kind of pop out from the sides. Loses ahead. I don't know what's worse, the traps or the puns, says Batman. Again, calling ourselves in the '60s Batman of it all.
Dragon, can I just point out that the traps in this thing kind of vaguely remind me of Oogie Boogie's Casino?
That's fair, but again, way before its time.
No, I know, but just the way that they kind of like pop out of the walls and stuff like that.
No, you're right. I kind of see it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
All right, let's see. So, okay, so then another Griffin's on the other. Points like they're dodging the Griffins. Like they essentially they have Griffins coming at them from both sides. From the other side, there, Robin says, I have more good news for you. No one's ever made it to the center of the maze." So Batman and Robin, they duck down a hallway. So the blast, as they're basically, they wait till they're about to blast, and they duck down the hallway. So basically, they take each other out. Really clever.
Uh-huh.
So okay, I'll find Mock. He shouts to the heavens, essentially. Almost Truman Show style. "I'll find Mockridge, even if I have to tear this place apart, Nigma. You'll have 8 minutes. Then Mockridge becomes the only good corporate shark, a dead one."
Oh God.
Look at a man relish again, very clocking as again. David Wise really good at the revenge story, man. Again, the going after the one guy, put him in a death trap where the man's about to be impaled or split in half. Anyway, so Batman, he then they run to the next segment of the maze where it's like there's something written in Arabic, and Batman translates the Arabic using his palm-top computer, which essentially is it's kind of it's an eating place riddle. Which so they go like, which hand do you eat with? So they go left, and then the Hand of Fate enters. The Hand of Fate was kind of what was Robin's undoing in the earlier scene.
It's Manos.
Good. The Hand of Fate is a lot of people love. Diehard fans of this episode love the Hand of Fate. By the way, people love.
I mean,
Hand of Fate.
who wouldn't love the Hand of Fate? It's a great design. You know what it reminds me of, Dragon? It
I
reminds
know
me of the
what it
glove
reminds you of.
The submarine.
Oh, it's like completely different. You know what it reminded me of?
What?
King of Thieves, man. Remember the Midas hand? King of Thieves.
Yeah, you're more of the King of Thieves.
But I'm saying, literally, it's a giant gold hand.
Yeah, sure.
On top of another,
right.
like in the palm of a giant gold
All
hand.
right. I'm just saying I haven't watched King of Thieves. I don't remember the giant hand in King of Thieves. I'm sorry.
All right. Worth going back to, man, I tell you.
I'm sure it is.
Anyway, sorry, get back to points. Anyway, so the Hand of Fate enters, and oddly enough, the Hand of Fate enters, given the hand-related riddle, which is kind of funny when you think about it, regardless. They realize...
In the Arab world, you always eat with your right hand.
They go down the literal right hallway. So then the next riddle is a musical riddle. So you have like keys on that unlock a door. You have A, C, and D. They try D, two blades. You fire at them, which they evade. Then Robin figures out, clever little Robin bit here. Robin figures out, no, it's the key of. Basically, figures C. C has no sharps.
Mm-hmm.
D in the gag, two sharps with A or whatnot. Anyway, or with D, I mean. So let's see. So then they dodge the Griffin yet again as they go in there. It blasts the blades, the spinning blades of death that hit the wall. Batman takes a little shard from the blasted blade. It's going to come in handy later because Batman's got an idea that man, he's the world's greatest detective for a reason. He's a clever guy, that Batman. So. Let's see. So next is the globe riddle from earlier. Now we the audience know Robin knows this riddle, and of course Robin gets it. Okay, no, I know the answer to this one. We gotta go the curved line. Where Batman does not go down the curved line; he goes down the wrong way. This is where Kevin Connors is great. Where Batman has a plan. It's like, wait, that's the wrong way. I know, but the Hand of Fate's gonna come for you. That's what I want. Basically jumps on the Hand of Fate, expecting it. Batman's riding the Hand of Fate.
He's riding a golden palm, folks. You thought Batman riding a reindeer was badass? I still think Batman riding a reindeer is slightly more badass than this. But
this is cool.
But
though.
Still, this is cool.
Oh, the full King of Thieves, man. He's riding the golden hand.
God, what is it with you and King of Thieves?
What's wrong with you? Fine. Blue meaty, fine. Submarine, whatever. Yellow submarine. What do you want to do?
The maniacal flying glove.
Anyway, my favorite from the '90s.
Robin's freaking out a little bit. He's just like, Batman, where are you? Then Riddler comes on the screen. Forget it, kid. I handed him his walking papers.
The Batman, while he's on the hand, he basically he knifes into it with the blade, and he basically connects it to his palm top computer, so again the palm is steering the hand. So now he controls it. He grabs Robin, throws him on top. They now have a short because they only have like a minute left. So again, Batman needed to do this, or else they weren't going to save Mockridge in time. So of course, Riddler was like,
one question:
yeah.
How? No, I'm sorry. That's Robin's line. Just one question. How?
That's a good line.
I mean, that kind of like goes back to the whole like Batman Robin dynamic that we have here.
Yeah, the whole like just the fun banter of it all. It's like, what situation are we in, man? It's like, yeah,
exactly.
But also in classic Riddler here, where Riddler's saying, "You're cheating, Batman," and of course, like you're not allowed to tamper with the Hand of Fate. I don't believe in fate. I don't believe in Minotaur. I don't believe in Minotaurs either. But you will have to answer the riddle. basically when you get to the center of the maze, but you will have to answer the riddle of the Minotaur.
Mm-hmm.
So of course the big riddle is, so they get there, and of course Mogers is like a few seconds away from being impaled by the giant golden Minotaur.
Oh God.
So it
I
says,
have billions of eyes, yet I live in darkness. I have millions of ears, yet only 4 lobes. I have no muscle, yet I rule 2 hemispheres. What am I?
the human brain.
I love how Batman's just so calm, just like the Minotaur's just like, yep, that's it.
He says the human brain. He says like it has big optical and auditory nerve, billions of optical and auditory nerves, 4 lobes, 2 hemispheres, and the only thing that Edward Nygma respects. So the Riddler, again, the ego of the Riddler, man, he writes it off as lucky guess, and then he commands the Minotaur to destroy him anyway. Classic sore loser, that is the Riddler. Then Batman has his own riddle, and this is so awesome, man. This is the real payoff of the hand here, where he says, here's a riddle for you, Enigma. How do you take out the Minotaur? How do you take out a Minotaur with a single blow? With the hand of fate. Basically, with the hand of fate comes in, bam, takes it out, and they have like this really great, really well animated, like kind of Minotaur's breaking down, like it's all rickety and stuff, and it just kind of plops down there. So then we hit the genius part of the episode. This is why the episode really gets. If the episode didn't earn points already, this is where it earns major points. The ending. Nygma gloats how he got away. As basically we reveal the footage that we've been seeing of Nygma being projected is Nygma on a plane that's currently flying. It's flying out there. It says he's gloating how he got away, and then, oh, you'll never find me. By the time you get out of the maze, I'll be out of the city. So he was on the plane the whole time. And again, the first Batman villain in the series to get away with it, to really get away with the crime.
Yeah, totally.
That's saying so. That's a real raconteur for Batman, right?
He got away with the crime, and he's got kind of like a lasting impact on his victim.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, no, he didn't kill Mockridge, but he did learn him a lesson. He did kind of get some revenge on the guy by terrifying him, and of course, he evaded justice. He evaded the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So he's flying there, and then we have like kind of our epilogue, basically the big, awesome kind of ending part here with kind of the aftermath, where we learn that the paper reveals that Bruce Wayne Enterprises bought the Competitron outright. Now, Mockridge essentially is wanting to get rid of it as soon as possible, I'd imagine. The mayor's very happy about things. You're going to have like 5.5 million a year in new jobs, so with the basically in Competitron and everything. But Robin voices, that creep Mockridge. He got 10 million in the sale. And then Batman has the awesome observation of the episode here. Bruce points out that the Riddler. There's still no sign of the Riddler. Wait, there hasn't been sign of the Riddler for months, and then we show the paranoia of Mockridge as he's locking his door and he has a shotgun at night. I don't think Mockridge is going to be getting any sleep. He may have the money, but he won't be sleeping well. How much is a good night's sleep worth?
Awesome last line to end on. Great Conroy delivery. Great imagery in that last part. Really good way to tie everything up.
Just a full circle comeuppance in a really well plotted episode. It also lives up to the strength of the Riddler's menace in that he completely took away the safety and security of a rich man. It's clever.
Yeah, and of course that ties right back into the title. Like, if you're so smart, why aren't you rich? It's like, well, gee, if you're so rich, why aren't you smart?
Mm-hmm.
Now there's a riddle for ya.
Yeah. All right. So final thoughts.
All right. I really like this one, Dragon. I don't think it's like I would say it's probably comfortably in like the B tier of episodes. I don't think it's like an iconic episode really, but it's very good. It's very good. It hits a lot of sweet spots. I don't really have a lot of negatives. I just don't think it's I don't think there's a lot of big huge hallmarks. Though there are a few. Like the ending really is the best part. The ending really does kind of tie things together. So I respect it on that level for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, for me, keep it simple. Again, I think it holds up better on the revisit than I expected it to, which is kind of great. It was already a good episode. I feel it had like even more to it on the rewatch as I've been kind of geeking out about it as we've gone through it here. Again, it's kind of Riddler with a very kind of it's a human motivation, but also very much motivated by ego, which is kind of classically the character. It's very again, a kind of very interesting arc is kind of put into play in the grand scheme of things, which we'll kind of track over time. But even taking that out of the equation here, I think it's a tremendously well plotted one off because again, like everything you need to know about the Riddler is kind of said in one episode, which is kind of interesting. It lives up to it definitely kind of lives up to the legacy of the first Riddler encounter story. I'll say that much, and that's kind of what they're doing here. Or again, like the first Riddler story, of course, the Batman Robin trying to kind of solve the kind of the puzzles of the Riddler. Kind of some fun little kind of tongue-in-cheek homages, not just to the '60s show, but also a little bit of the '40s comic. It feels kind of like a marriage of the two, but also very much '90s, kind of like kind of futurism within the timeless world of Batman the animated series. The episode's got a lot going for it, and let me put it this way: the first one is really good, and as we get through it, I think we're going to see a little bit of a cash in with the Riddler in the second one, and kind of the awesome revenge, basically the awesome kind of like return to form in the third one. It's kind of what I promised with the Riddler arc. All right.
All right, Dragon, cue up your Dozier.
Speaking of '60s Batman earlier, Joker and a casino. Someone called De Niro. Will Cameron Kaiser's gamble pay off? Is Batman out of luck? Find out. Same animated bat time, same animated bat place.
On the next episode of the animated Batcave with Joker's Wild.
If you're so smart, why aren't you rich?